All the news, everybody's talking about the National Transportation Safety Board's recommendations. You can't use cell phones in your cars. It's crazy. You can't even use Bluetooth. I'm like, my goodness, where is this coming from? Well, there must be. I think this is completely a commercial for Ford and their Sync product, because that's the one that's highlighted the most. OnStar, of course, is the bigger company that has everything integrated. Because what they're saying, and actually, unlike those people that, what are they called? Oh, yeah, journalists. I actually went to the recommendations to look it up. And so if you saw any of this hoopla going on, here is the actual language, which says nothing about Bluetooth or anything like that. They made all that up. To the CTIA, the Wireless Association and Consumer Electronics Association, the NTSB recommends encourage the development of technology features that disable the functions of portable electronic devices within reach of the driver when a vehicle is in motion. These technology features should include the ability to permit emergency use of the device while the vehicle is in motion and have the capability of, and this is key, identifying occupant seating position as not to interfere with the use of device by passengers. This doesn't say at all that you can't use your Bluetooth, but immediately the reports were, well, you have to get an in-car device and on the speakerphone, and you can't use your Bluetooth, and and by the way, we kind of want you to be connected so we can talk to you, and if there's an accident, it'll be really good because we can track you. This is, as far as I'm concerned, watch Ford's product line, and I see Ford advertising on all of the news stations with their Sync product, and they do entire packages about how important Ford Sync is. So this got really played up. I haven't been able to trace how this little line got to you can't use Bluetooth headpieces, because that's the report on anyone. Luckily, the absurdity of it all was put into context by presidential candidate Congressman Ron Paul.
The federal government have a role in recommending when you can use your cell phone while driving.
No way. I looked in Article 1, Section 8. They don't even say anything about telephones there. So no, they shouldn't be doing that. That is really nitpicking away. And if some state decides that you shouldn't do it, they certainly have the authority to do that. But what if I came up with a statistic and I could prove that eating in a car causes more accidents than using your cell phone? It's on and on. Reckless driving, people who cause accidents, they're liable and responsible and should be punished for this. But this idea that the federal government's going to write a rule about when we're going to use cell phones and then force them maybe to buy a certain type cell phone that's already in your car, that's more government than we need, and one of the reasons why we're in such a mess.
Ron Paul nails it. The government's going to force you to buy OnStar, and
heaven forbid that Ron Paul got to be the president. And of course, we saw this last week. It's one of our producers sent us a note showing that now they're double teaming him on the Fox network.
Which normally is kind of hot, but in this case it's not okay. Well, I have two short clips, because now they've changed direction. So now that the news media, which is so obvious, first of all, Democrats run Fox. You'll see that in a second. You hear that in a second. They don't know what to do with Ron Paul because he's going to win Iowa. He's going to win Iowa because he has an army. He's got.
There's always some other reason.
Yeah, it's not because people like his ideas, but his supporters are so fanatical. So now the meme is he will win Iowa, but it means nothing. That's the meme.
I love it.
So here's Rachel Madcow first.
Not going to win Iowa. Right now, the polls say that the guy who's going to win instead is not Mitt Romney. It's old Dr. Paul.
Ageist, old Dr. Paul. Ageist, bitch.
Which is amazing, right? I mean, that would change everything.
Why don't we say, I didn't say lesbian Rachel Maddow. I didn't say that. Why do we have to say old Dr. Paul? I dislike that.
It is not Mitt Romney. It's old Dr. Paul. Which is amazing, right? I mean, that would change.
By the way, this woman, being the big liberal that she is and the politically correct type person, to say that is absolutely disgusting. The woman should be ashamed of herself.
Exactly. And as I said, I didn't say here's the lesbian Rachel Maddow. There's no reason to do that. Here's Rachel Maddow. I said Madcow. I made fun of her name, but that's good. But yeah, to say the old Dr. Paul, it's ageist and it's wrong, and it has no place in a news organization. Oh, I'm sorry, it's MSNBC.
It is not Mitt Romney, it's old Dr. Paul. Which is amazing, right? I mean, that would change everything in Republican politics. That would change everything in the 2012 race this year. If Ron Paul won Iowa, right, that would change everything, wouldn't it? No, it wouldn't. Remember which Republican won Iowa in 2008? That was this guy, self-help weight loss guru, Fox News personality, and the guy who was hosting the latest anti-abortion jubilee for the Republican candidates in Iowa tonight, Mike Huckabee.
So her take on the angle on the marching orders and talking points she's been given from her Uber lords is discredit the guy by showing that no one who ever won Iowa has ever won the president that has ever become president. That is now what she's saying, and all the other news networks are doing it as well. Fox, run by Democrats, did it a little differently with Chris Wallace, a respected journalist.
3 weeks, and if we've seen one thing in this campaign so far, it is so fluid. There is not, rock solid support for everybody, for anybody except perhaps Ron Paul, who does get his 15 to 20%.
If Ron Paul wins here, what then?
Well, the Ron Paul people are not going to like my saying this, but to a certain degree, it will discredit the Iowa caucuses because
then it's just no good. If he wins, then it just discredits it. It was no good. See,
it's unbelievable.
Then the caucus is just no good. It just sucks.
Well, as one of our producers sent us, they noticed that Sean Hannity teamed up with Bill Bennett on his show to trash Ron Paul. We had to have two now. And then also O'Reilly teamed up with that consultant Dick Morris to trash Ron Paul in much the same way. And it's just like they are totally freaked out about this guy
because they have no control over it. Because this is not.
Yeah, he's not part of the system. He's not part of the mechanism. They have no control over him. Whoever it is that's calling the shots at MSNBC and Fox, disgusting. You know, the funny thing is I also listen to the radio talkers and the guy who's completely off.
They're called disc jockeys. Radio talkers? You mean disc jockeys?
Well, they should be disc jockeys. So we already know that Rush Limbaugh hates Ron Paul, but he does it in kind of his kind way of he hasn't got a chance. He doesn't get on his case too much. But the guy who does is the great one that Hannity calls him. He calls himself the great one. Mark Levin. That's what he sounds like. He screams all the time. Mark Levin, the great one. And so Mark Levin goes on. Ron Paul's an idiot. He says, I disagree. His foreign policy goes on and on and on about this, and then he spends a good segment. I had to actually turn it off and go to NPR because I couldn't take it. He's going on and on about how great the Patriot Act is. It's great. It's the greatest thing ever. And somebody would call in and say the Patriot Act is a piece of shit. And he said, why? What specifically about it? And he badger them, or bully in the sense of the meme. Anyway, these guys are running scared. Yeah. And I hope the public, actually, Buzzkill Jr.
Are you eating?
No. Buzzkill Jr.
No, as he puts down his fork.